are you doing here? I'm Sadie Guinness, and I'm going to tell you what the will happen in Legacy Season 2. And after this, please check out our playlist for more What the videos. But before we dive into what's going to happen next, let's do a little refresher on where we left off. Monsters had been terrorizing the Salvatore School because they were after these artifacts that would unlock Malivore and therefore free themselves. In case you forgot, Malivore was this ancient golem created by a witch, werewolf, and vampire for the purpose of consuming monsters and erasing all memory of them. And Malivore is also Landon's dad because he had actually created Landon to be his human meat suit, so he didn't have to just go around as a sad, lonely golem anymore. It's a little warm, but it's nice for me because I'm normally freezing. You gonna take off your shirt? Oh, Aaron's getting naked. Meanwhile, Triad Industries, led by MG's mom, had laid siege to the school by taking advantage of these anti-supernatural failsafes that Alaric had installed. Fortunately, Hope was able to escape and go to Triad headquarters to rescue Landon, who had been kidnapped by his brother Clark. But Hope and Landon weren't able to prevent Clark from throwing the last artifact into Malivore, and so, all hell was literally about to break loose when Hope realized that she is actually the key to stopping Malivore from opening.
I'm the answer to all of this.
Because she's the only tri-bred in existence. Because of that, Hope kills Landon, knowing that because he's a phoenix, he'll just rise up again, and then she casts a mimic spell on Clark so that when she jumps into Malivore to seal it, Clark is dragged in with her. After the two enter the pit, it completely dries up, disappears, and then all memories of Hope and Clark are erased. The good thing is, we'll know what happens to Hope right away, according to creator Julie Plec.
The mystery of where she is and what happened is actually the way we begin the first episode. Within the first few minutes, we'll see what's become of her. And I think that it's going to be fun to watch her first realize that she's not dead, and two, realize how the hell she's going to get herself out of this mess that she's made.
The first teaser for Season 2 does give us a little glimpse of Hope inside Malivore. She looks terrified, confused, and also maybe facing off with a teeth monster? But at least Hope isn't going to have to go through all of this alone, although I bet she probably wishes she was trapped with pretty much anyone but Clark. As Vampire Diaries fans know from when Bonnie and Damon were trapped in the prison world in Season 6, an experience like this can completely change a relationship, even making former enemies the best of friends. Personally, I am really hoping that Hope and Clark do become friends because I stan Clark a lot. Let's be real. The only reason he threw those artifacts into Malivore was not because he wanted to, destroy the world, but because he was just afraid of his dad. Relatable. My dad is lovely and not scary. But the scary thing is, even though Hope might prove to be a positive influence on Clark, this whole experience could still bring out a much darker side of Hope. Being trapped in a hell dimension / pit of goo / your boyfriend's dad is a very traumatic experience, and Danielle Rose Russell is really hoping that this season is going to lean into the effects that this has on Hope's psyche going forward.
I'd really like to see how Hope handles traumatic situations, and I'd also love to see the impact that it has on Hope and Landon, because she did it for him.
Of course, when Season 2 picks up, Landon isn't even going to remember who Hope is, which is going to make things tricky for everyone involved. There is a huge difference between a world in which Hope never existed and a world in which Hope existed and people knew and loved her but had these memories taken away. Because of that, Landon and the others will still feel the absence of Hope in various ways, even if they don't understand what or who is missing from their lives.
The entire first episode of Legacies is all about our characters technically moving on with their lives post-Hope. They each have some hole that they can't quite fill, and they're not really understanding what it is that they've lost.
The good news is the trailer does show Alaric knows that someone is missing, and since he's probably unemployed, he should have plenty of time to investigate this. Also, if you're wondering if Hope jumping into the pit actually killed Malivore, the answer is no. Malivore is not going anywhere on Legacies. Malivore is going to be the big bad of the entire series, so even though that pit did dry up, Hope didn't kill Malivore, but it does look as though she changed it.
In our minds, Malivore is the Voldemort of our series.
We do not speak his name.
Every year, we're going to come up with new fun ways how to make him more dynamic and interesting and change up his rules. But when all is said and done, Malivore is going to be a long-time threat.
How Malivore will manifest itself this season remains to be seen, but given how Malivore is always absorbing aspects of the creatures within him, it'll be interesting to see whether having a witch-werewolf-vampire hybrid will potentially give Malivore new abilities or even immunity to things that once would have stopped him. Malivore aside, Lizzie and Josie also have a huge problem of their own to deal with now that they finally found out about the merge. the Gemini Coven ceremony, in which on the twins' 22nd birthday, the stronger twin will absorb the weaker twin's power, thus killing them. The knowledge of the impending ritual caused a lot of tension between the twins when they found out last season, so it's probably a good thing that afterwards they've spent a little time apart.
We're having a lot of fun with the idea that Lizzie is spending the summer in Europe with her mom, and Josie has decided to stay back at the school to make sure that someone's there to look after her dad. And when they're apart, that opens a world up for Josie that's very different than the world she lives with Lizzie. Actually, we'll see her start to make new friends and maybe even some new romance.
Many Legacies fans are speculating that this new romance is actually going to be with Landon, and one of the first photos released for season 2 definitely fans the flames of that speculation. The trailer also shows Landon and Josie getting very close as they seemingly are leaning on each other during this trying time. Even though Landon and Josie had no chemistry last season, I actually think a romance between them right now makes so much sense. They both had strong feelings for Hope, they don't even know Hope existed, and so where are all of those emotions gonna go? But when Josie is not indulging in this potential summer fling, she's gonna be hard at work researching the merge.
She really wants to get to the bottom of how she and her sister can survive what lies ahead for them by the time that they're 22 years old.
Given that season 1 ended with Josie and Lizzie discovering the Ascendant, aka the key to the prison world that holds Kai, the only other surviving member of the Gemini Coven, could Josie become desperate enough this season to use it to unlock Kai and try and get some answers?
I'm back in hell.
But even if Kai doesn't appear on screen this season, we do know that Lizzie and Josie are going to be learning a lot more about their evil, charismatic uncle in season 2. And as if there wasn't enough going on in Legacies already, season 2 is going to welcome a whole bunch of new characters, including a new vampire student named Sebastian.
Welcome to the Salvatore School. We're your tour guides.
Who's going to have a hard time fitting into the Salvatore School for a very unique reason.
We want to introduce a vampire who kind of got desiccated when he was 17 in maybe the 15th century and now wakes up in the 21st century and realizes that all the rules of being a vampire have changed and that he does not fit into this very modern world.
With Sebastian seemingly used to treating humans like food, living among them will probably be a bit difficult, but apparently his old world views are not going to be a turnoff for Lizzie because he's apparently going to be a new love interest for her. But for the record, Lizzie deserves so much better than someone whose ideas of gender relations were formed 600 years ago. In addition to Sebastian, the Salvatore School will also welcome another new face who seemingly holds some old world views. Alexis Denisov will join the cast as Professor Vardamus, a British sorcerer and a bit of a dandy. Vardamus holds strong beliefs about the superiority of the supernatural, which is something that will probably appeal to a lot of the students while also scaring a few off. I was gonna touch on my lip gloss. My lip gloss is poppin'. My lip gloss is cool. That's one of my karaoke songs. I can't believe you don't know this song. This was a hit for a minute. There's also a new family moving into Mystic Falls. Bianca Kalick will play Sheriff Mack, whose name is a sweet nod to Marguerite McIntyre, who played Sheriff Forbes in The Vampire Diaries. Mack also has 2 kids, Maya and Ethan, played by Bianca Santos and Leo Howard. Bianca is described as sharp-tongued and flirtatious, while Leo is a kind-hearted, competitive athlete. The twist? Both of the kids are going to have crushes on Hope, which is going to make things extremely complicated, seeing as Landon, Josie, and pretty much everyone else is also in love with her. And on top of all of these teenage pheromones swirling around, Mac is also going to be a love interest for Alaric, which is pretty much the only thing Matt Davis was hoping for his character in season 2.
I want him to break the curse. I would love to have the episode open up with Alaric at the bar, maybe at the Mystic Grill. A lovely woman sits down next to him, he strikes up a conversation, and she's like, yeah, I'm here, I moved to town, I have a job interview at this place called the Salvatore School. And he's like, I know that's good. And that would be the setup, and he falls in love with her, bada bing, bada boom.
Replace Professor at the Salvatore School with new sheriff in town, and it looks like Matt is about to get his wish, as long as Max survives this season. Season 2 will be missing a few love interests, though. The Gorgon MG was crushing on, and Josie's ex Penelope are probably not going to be returning this season, although Julie is hoping to eventually get Penelope back down the line. As for Emma, who left on a sabbatical last season, aka got cast in Fear the Walking Dead, Karen David would love to return to Legacies if she's able to make the scheduling work.
Brett and Julie have said that they'd love to have me back. I'd love to go back if I can, and if the schedules align and the integrity of the storylines work, then I'd love to go back.
Burning question.
What are your burning questions about life?
How do you get through it knowing that it's endless? There are still so many other questions Legacy Season 2 needs to answer, so let's break down the biggest ones. How will being trapped as a wolf affect Rafael? We don't know how long we'll have to wait until Hope comes back, but we do know that Raph will be trapped in his wolf form at least through the summer.
You have a lot of people, led by Landon, really looking for ways to save Raph and get him back into human form and hitting dead end after dead end. The first episode is a passage of time in which we see Raph pulling more and more and more into his wolf shell, wondering if we'll ever actually be able to see him as a human again.
Remember how messed up Haley was after she got trapped in her wolf form? Imagine going through that, but you're like a teenager, and maybe even for like way longer. So like the effects of this are gonna be catastrophic. And what is Alaric gonna do now? Even though season 1 technically ended on a cliffhanger about whether or not he was gonna be ousted as headmaster, we all know that without Hope there to vote for him, Alaric was definitely given the boot. And one of the first photos from season 2 even shows that Alaric does what a lot of people do in that situation. He grows an unemployment beard. But it looks like he's not going to be unemployed for too long. The reports are that Alaric is most likely going to find a new job at his old stomping ground, Mystic Falls High. Will Hosey ever happen? Even though Hope has like 500 other love interests, fans still really hope that one day Hope and Josie will get to explore what a romantic relationship between them might look like. While she couldn't say whether or not it's going to happen this season, Danielle Rose Russell is very open to exploring this relationship down the line.
Yeah, of course I support the ship. I mean, I think that it's really cool to have a female protagonist of a show be sexually fluid, and I think that's, something that I'm really proud to represent as well. If it ever made sense in the storyline, I would be so happy to do it.
Are we ever gonna get to see Dark Josie? Throughout the first season, it was definitely made clear that Josie isn't as meek as she thought of herself. And with her world opening up so much this season, we're definitely gonna get to see some new sides of Josie, and this is probably gonna reveal some of her undiscovered darkness.
Josie is an untapped soul in that she probably has a lot of struggles that she's working so hard to tap down so she can help other people with theirs. We haven't even touched the iceberg of probably what's brewing inside Josie Saltzman.
And of course, will Caroline appear this season? This is the question on everyone's mind, and so we had to take the chance to ask Candice King whether or not she's down to reprise her role in season 2.
I don't have a ticket to Atlanta at this current moment, but obviously Caroline is alive and well and off trying to figure out a solution to the merge problem. And I've seen every episode. I'm a fan, right along with the fans. I've hung out in the writer's room. Eventually, maybe Caroline might stop by to check on her daughters.
While it's still unknown whether we're going to see Caroline this season, there is a huge chance that we're going to see some of the Michelson family members, at least the ones who are still alive.
I think there's going to be an opportunity this year to see some of the originals. I don't know who and I don't know when, but the way that Hope's storyline is shaping up, there's definitely a link to the family that got left behind as well that we will have to address at a certain point, and it would be nice to see a familiar face.
Freya was originally supposed to make a cameo in season 2, but it had to be scrapped due to scheduling reasons, but at least hopefully one of her siblings will make an appearance. Let us know who you're hoping to see in Legacy season 2 in the comments below.